Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great state of Florida. One hell of a drug. And I do want to welcome you to the channel wherever you are tuning in from around the world. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to talk about this news that has broke yesterday that is bullish for Bitcoin. We're going to talk about that. In fact, there were a couple of big events yesterday that happened. We're going to cover those and talk about what we see coming in the charts. But before we do that, smash the like button. This does help get this channel out to more people, and it does. And of course, does help support the channel, as does your wonderful comments. Thank you for those that take the time to write those in the comment section. I appreciate that. All right, so let's jump into straight off the FOMC. That was the big news of the day. Of course, everybody was waiting, and it pretty much played out as expected. The Fed left rates unchanged for the second straight meeting, as was anticipated. There was uncertainty around the economy due to the tariffs, of course. There is a forecast showing of 50 basis points of rate cuts in 2025. So 2 rate cuts of 25 basis points. That's positive and that's bullish. That's bullish for Bitcoin when it happens. And there's a strong possibility, in my opinion, that one of those happens in the May or June meetings that are upcoming. There is no meeting in April. But what a lot of people really kind of glossed over was the Fed to slow down the balance sheet runoff beginning April, which means the Fed has been sellers. They were buyers in the market during the last bull run, and they have been sellers into the market in this bull run. And it looks as though that is coming to an end beginning April the 1st. Okay, and there's a couple of other little notes there as well, but you can watch the whole meeting if you can stomach watching and listening. Find that online, as Fed Powell had a speech yesterday. So I think that's bullish for Bitcoin. Also, what came out yesterday, and of course, yes, the Fed says quantitative tightening ends April 1st. Money printer is coming back, massively bullish for Bitcoin. But also the other news was that there are all eyes on Trump's speech about digital assets tomorrow, which is today at 10:40 a.m. Apparently there is a big announcement coming. I feel he's speaking at some digital assets conference or something. Not sure exactly where it is, but we know it's today and it's 10:40 a.m. What do you think he's going to be talking about? Is there going to be tax exemptions for the made in the USA coins, which we thought was coming out of that digital assets summit, government summit that he did with a bunch of industry key people and leaders, and we didn't see happen yet. So it's be interesting to see what happens there, what kind of tax exemptions are going to come, if any, or what the big announcement is. Hopefully it's not something that falls completely flat. Now, if we look at the price of Bitcoin, we did see a big move up. In fact, over the last week, we've seen a great increase from where we found our low, where we wicked below the 50 EMA on the weekly. Remember, bull market historically over when we get a full weekly candle open and close below the 50-week moving average at about 75,900. However, Bitcoin did come down and tag the 50 EMA on the weekly, sitting at about 77,000. We went all the way up to 87,000 there. Absolutely fantastic. So huge move of 10,000, and we did bust through the 200-day moving average. Now, one of the things that you'll remember is that how we took quite a few goes to get through it, but usually about 7 goes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On the 8th, we broke through because it weakens it. The sellers just run out and it weakens it. But then, of course, we come up to the next resistance, which is the 200 EMA on the daily and the 20 EMA on the daily. Both are together in harmony there. And so this will be an area now we are below because we've had a bit of an overnight. We've sold off We've sold overnight a little bit, and unfortunately we've dropped down. We're not able to sustain that rally, but it's possible that with today's news, maybe we can go up and test the 20 EMA on the weekly, which is sitting at around 88,000 there. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. But ideally, what do we need to get above? We've got to get back up this area here, this 90,000 level, and just, the 50-day moving average is moving down. And we definitely don't want to see a death cross. We're ways away from it. The 84,000 and 91,000. It's moving quickly now towards having that death cross, which is usually a lagging indicator anyway. A lot of the move has already happened. But we do need above this 90,000. And now I would say by the time looks like we get up there, the 50-day moving average is probably going to be at 90,900 level, which is what we need to get across there, which is super important. We also have the 50 EMA on the daily there. The 20 EMA on the weekly is up 88 as well. So this whole area here is going to be absolutely huge and crucial for getting above for Bitcoin there. So very, very important levels there that we have. And if we turn on the volume profile, we look here, the VPVR, this area, you can see right on the 200-day moving average, we now have a ton of volume as support there because it's spent time there. And always the big issue, and this also leads me to where we had this to the downside, but also to the upside, we can get through fairly quickly. Once we do have a bullish move and momentum in the market, we can get quite quickly through back to 95,000, okay? And if we move on to the weekly time frame here and we turn on the VPVR there, you'll see just this huge area here. And what happened was we just went up too quick. We had 1, 2, 3 weeks of just straight upside there in the market. Now we've got some volume here, which is great. What this means is that when Bitcoin does move above 120, 130, 140 and upwards, when we do come back for a retest, there's going to be a level of support. There's a level of volume there in the market. That's called market structure. We don't have good market structure here. This area needs to be built up. And so this is healthy for the market to spend some time. And I would say to spend some time in there between 90,000 and down to 73. Even look, if we had come down to that $69,000 area there, which I'm surprised that we didn't actually, and we may still come back down there. So don't think that we're out of the woods here. We're above the 200-day moving average, which we are. We do need to stay there, and I'd like to see a weekly open and close above that level, above the 200-day moving average and above the 200 EMA on the daily as well. But you can see how helpful this is, where you can see, wow, look at this gap in here that we have and that we came down and whipped down into, and there was some support there. Look at that, the volume that came in right at this level. Previously there wasn't anything there, and now we have a little bit of volume here. So this area here, if we leave this behind, then it does concern me that at some point in a bear market we come down, we're just going to melt through that area, that space there. So we do want to build up a good base of support in here. Otherwise there's just nothing in there at the moment that we have. So that's important, and I believe that's what's happening at the moment. Of course, we have the yellow brick road. We're going to follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. And a lot of yesterday just feels like a big liquidation hunt. We do have some big yellow bars below at 84, 83, 83, and down there 80,000. Lots of liquidation levels to the downside there. If we look on the weekly, we can see how we came up and took the yellow brick road. That's why we follow the yellow brick road here, is because we came up and took this big liquidation level up here. Now the biggest liquidation level on the weekly is down at 80,000 there. We jump to the monthly time frame there. We're going to see more liquidity to the upside. So it's quite possible we leave, but it's just so built up there now between 80 and 78,000, huge amount of liquidity there. It is more pronounced to the upside though, 95. That was that level that I talked to you about there that I wouldn't be surprised that we could move quite quickly up to these levels, 95, 98, up to 100,000 there. A lot of liquidity. I do think that's going to be gone and gotten at some point. Whether you think we're in a bear market or not, we can go up and get that before it capitulates to the downside. I don't think we're in a bear market. I still think we're in a bull market. Here you can see here on the 6-month time frame, there is that level here that I've been sharing, that 75 to 73 level in here. I did expect that to be tagged. I still do, but also it could be left behind. That could be a bit of a fake out that the market makers, just have everybody there with the waiting orders, expecting it to go there, and that just doesn't go there. Too many people have been talking about it and pointing at that area. So it's quite possible we don't see this until the bear market, and this could be if we have a continuation and Bitcoin goes and makes a new all-time high to 120, 130, 140, etc., then this would be my area that I would expect for the bear market lows. If we go straight into a bear market now, I would expect this to go down to 40 to 50,000, like if the all-time high is already in. So those really does depend on a couple of factors there. But of course, you see all this liquidity, billions and millions. There's way more now above the upside. This wasn't the case before. There was way more to the downside, and we came and got it, stopped short of this area here of 73 to 75. Now we've got this 95 all the way up to 110,000. Billions and billions and billions of dollars in there. I don't think the market makers are going to leave that behind. I would be very surprised if they did. I think they come down and they go up and they get these levels up here, as you can see. And of course, I do think the bull run is still on and we can make a new all-time high. To do that, we have to break 100K. If we break 100K and get above 100K, I believe a new all-time high is imminent there. But if we have rejection there and we're unable to get up there, then that might be our final rally up before we capitulate to the downside there. And of course, 90,000 is the more immediate level to get back in this range. We want to get back in this range. Currently, we're either in a deviation outside the range, like we saw here. We saw a deviation, 1, 2 deviations over a 3-month period. There was a couple of deviations. Now, and we weren't long outside there. There were only 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks there. So most of the time was spent in here. Now outside of the range, we've been 1, 2, 3 weeks there. So a similar amount of time to that first deviation. So it's possible if we do come back into the range, and this was just a deviation outside of the range. However, if we start to spend more and more time here, we see 4, 5, 6, 7 week candles there, then we have created a new range and we're in this range below, which at the moment, I would say that coming from 90.88 down to around the 77,000 level at the moment. All right, well, that's all we have time for today. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. If you'd like more, if you want more, and if you want to learn how to make money when the market goes down as well as up, you can find me in the Discord, the Tribal Trades Discord. If you'd like access to that, you can email me below in the description of this video. You might need to click the More button. That will pop out. And we have a leverage lounge in there, and we teach leverage classes there. We also have live trading sessions where you can trade with me live. You can interact with me. You can speak to me if you want. You can chat in the chat box however you want. You can remain anonymous, or you can, share different questions that you might have. And there is live sessions that we do every single week where we do live trading there. So if you want to join me, you can find me in the Tribal Trades Discord. More information in the description. Of course, I'm in the Stocks with Josh Discord as always, sharing education, resources, insights, and my trade setups. Teach leverage in there also as well. Okay, so if you're in the Stocks with Josh Discord, keep an eye on upcoming classes that will be there. There are some of the classes that have been recorded in there as well, so you can find that in the Discord as well. And of course, entertainment, because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? If you have been entertained today, smash the like button and make sure you leave a comment for me in the comment section on what you think is going to happen with Bitcoin next. Are we going to go up and climb for that 90 to 95 liquidation level, or are we going to come down to hit that 73K liquidation level down there? I'd love to hear your thoughts there. And as always, until the next episode, or until I see you in the Discord, happy trading.